I believe the sun is in front of and behind the clouds, and now it just disappeared into the clouds. Let's see what happens here if we can. This is not very safe. But look, clouds in front, clouds behind. 93 million miles away, guys. Clouds in front, clouds behind. 93 million miles away. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Oh my God. How is that possible? Clouds in front, clouds behind. Woo!
Let's just say this is the sun, right? And we have all these planets going around the sun, right? It takes a year to go around the sun. It takes a year. It takes 6 months to get to the sun. This is what they're telling us. Our planet is going around the sun. It's daytime on the part of Earth that's facing the sun. There's no way this side of Earth is nighttime when the sun is on the inside. Nighttime is always on the outside.
Right.
It's always on the
Right,
outside.
right.
So if I'm right here,
Right.
right, we're looking at the nighttime,
Yeah.
and all the stars over here
Right.
on this side of the room.
Right, right.
But on the other side of the sun, there's a bunch of other stars, right?
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can only see this side of the universe.
Okay.
Right? But when in 6 months, when I'm on this side, at night, it's only night when this side is facing out. So I only can see this side of the room. All right? So we got all these stars over here that we're seeing at night.
All right.
6 months later, we're seeing all those stars, right?
Right.
And then 6 months later back, we're seeing all those stars, right? So there should be, at every 3 months or 6 months, there should be a different set of stars.
Constellation, yeah, I was telling you.
We shouldn't see the same
'cause you can
constellation.
see the same constellation every time.
Why do we see the Big Dipper
Every night.
every?
Two signs that your mind has been hacked. The first sign, they ask you, does the sun rise and set, or does the earth rotate? You answer, no, the earth rotates. Then they ask, why do you say this when you can clearly see the sun rising and setting? Is it possible that you've ignored your senses to the extent of believing in ideas you've been taught? The second sign, you say, no, it only seems to us that the sun is moving, but in reality, we are the ones rotating. But regarding the earth, there is no evidence of movement. Yet you still say, no, it moves, but we just don't feel it. If you've reached this stage, congratulations. You've been successful.
Listen, it's obvious, isn't it? That's not far away. That can't be 93 million miles away. There's no way that you're seeing rays of light coming down like that. Look at the angle of them. Look how you can triangulate that back to the sun. You can't possibly observe what we're observing here if that's not a local light. So that proves the firmament, that proves the creator, that proves we're not spinning through space at speeds we can't imagine, and that proves that life does have a meaning. We're at the centre of the universe. The deceivers can only have the power that we give to them. Look at your reality, observe it, ponder the universe, and you will find the truth.
How do we know that the moon is a sphere? Have we ever seen the other side of it? No. I will let my friend Karen B show you a little demonstration.
When something is round and too far away from you, you cannot say what shape it is. It can be a flat plate, it can be oblate, it can be concave, it can be a sphere. You just can't tell. Here are 4 objects. They all look round, right? But are they all spheres? How would we know? What if I told you that there is only one object that is not spherical? Can you tell what it is? Can you tell me how you knew it? How would we even know the distance? I can tell you that they are 100 feet away and you will believe it, but they can only be a few inches away.
And I can tell you that they are 10 meters in diameter, but they could only be 5 centimeters in diameter. You can never know using your camera.
Please look at them carefully. Here is the only object that is not spherical here. Here it is. I bet you thought it would be another one. But it will blow your mind if I tell you that this second object is also not spherical, and it's flat. And it will blow your mind even more if I tell you that this third object is concave. But how about this one? This is the only spherical object. We could have an oblate object and you would think it's spherical as well. So looking at something round does not mean it's a sphere. Have you ever seen the moon rotating in the sky? You have always seen one side of it, which makes it impossible for anyone to say the moon is spherical. However, using the word round is correct. A plate is also round. Look at this moon right here. Does it look round? Yes. Does it look like a sphere? Yes. Is it really a sphere? Let's find out. Well, it's not. It's flat. You got tricked again.
السلام عليكم. هذا الفيديو موجه لمن يسأل عن تفسير فيزيائي لتعاقب الليل والنهار على الأرض المسطحة. كما هو واضح أمامكم، أتينا بقبة زجاجية تحاكي كثافة الغازات ووضعناها على خريطة الأرض المسطحة، ثم أتينا بمصدر إضاءة يحاكي الشمس وسلطنا الأشعة على الأرض، وكما رأينا انكسر الضوء فأنشأ ظلا في الطرف الآخر. تجربة واضحة وبسيطة لا تحتاج إلى شرح، ولكن ما أريد التنبيه إليه هو ضرورة تعظيم النص وفهمه كما فهمه خير القرون دون خوض في تفاصيل قد لا تكون مؤهلا لفهمها. فالليل والنهار مخلوقات تسبح في فلكها، شأنها شأن الشمس والقمر، فقد قال تعالى:
وهو الذي خلق الليل والنهار
تنزيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. أم يقولون افتراه بل هو الحق من ربك لتنذر قوما ما أتاهم من نذير من قبلك لعلهم يهتدون. الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وما بينهما في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش ما لكم من دونه من ولي ولا شفيع أفلا تتذكرون يدبر الأمر من السماء إلى الأرض ثم
والشمس تجري. هم يقولون لا، الشمس واقفة والأرض هي اللي تجري. هذا عكس ما جاء في القرآن. وإبراهيم عليه السلام قال للنمرود إن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأتي بها من المغرب فبهت الذي كفر. فكوننا نترك ما دل عليه القرآن ونأخذ بالنظريات الحديثة هذا لا يكون من المسلم. ويجب على المسلم أن يتبع القرآن. الله جل وعلا يقول ما أشهدتهم خلق السماوات والأرض ولا خلق أنفسهم وما كنت متخذ المضلين عضدا. نعم.
That's a trip.
Ship going over the curve and the sun setting.
Perfect. And that's on a level.
On a flat table.
Can you show me? Pull it back. Do me a favor. Just pull it back like without. That's the table. There you are.
I want to ask you guys a question. What makes you think you live on this? Think about it. I want you to think about it. What makes you think that? Is it the pictures that you've seen of Earth from space? All these? Are these why? All these that all look different all the time, have different shaped continents, have different size continents, have different colors, that look completely like drawings? Is this why? Or is it because you see the sun half covered and you know that the Earth is revolving, so that's why you see the sun half covered? But then you can zoom in and see that it's not actually half covered, it's pretty high in the air. And you realize that it only looks half covered because of the atmospheric lensing and perspective. So if it's not those two, maybe it's this. Maybe it's that all the planets around, right? I mean, NASA says this is what Mars looks like. So, you know, Earth has to look similar. But does Mars really look like this? Amateurs catch Mars looking like this. It's a little different. Looks like it's light shimmering in water. Interesting. Same planet, different telescope, different person, capturing somewhat of the similar thing we're seeing. Maybe it's because you look up and see the sun and see that it's 93 million miles away, so everything they tell us about the solar system has to be accurate, right? How's it 93 million miles away if it's in the clouds? Maybe you think you live on a globe because the flight paths prove it, right? Don't all flight paths prove it? I mean, this seems normal, right? You would never just go in a straight line. Let's see what New York to Moscow looks like on a flat Earth map.
Line, check this out. The edge of Canada, the edge of Greenland, straight over Iceland, straight over Sweden, and into Moscow.
Interesting.
Imagine that.
Maybe you think you live on a globe because NASA's gone way up in space and sent pictures back. But this is what their flight path looks like all the time. Does that look like it's going up to space to you? Boats go over the horizon, right? So that's why we live on a globe, because a boat goes over and then you can't see it, right? So that's what they teach us from a young age, right? That this happens, the boat's going to go over the horizon. If it's going over a curve, you can never zoom back in on it, right? Just like this boat that went out of sight and over the horizon. But then you zoom in, kind of like you do on the sun, and you see it's still there. It's not over any horizon. See, people think that's what's happening, but it's just like the sun, like I said. When something goes away and there's lensing because of the heat from the water or any type of atmosphere, you can't see it anymore. This is how the sun actually goes down. It just goes further away to the point you can't see the light that the sun is giving anymore. And look, we can't see that boat, and then you remove the atmosphere or the lens and it's still right there. Boats aren't going over the horizon, they're just going out of your sight, just like the sun. Star trails though, right? These prove that the Earth is definitely spinning. As this time lapse plays, I want to just tell you what the Earth is supposedly doing. We are rotating 1,000 miles per hour this way. We're traveling 67,000 miles per hour around the sun. We are hurling through the solar system at 400,000 miles per hour and hurling through the universe at 2 million miles per hour. Yet these stars look like they're rotating around us, to me, and Polaris never moves. How is that possible? Speaking of not being able to see things, we know we live on a globe because you can't see things because they're too far away and they're over the curve, right? Well, the globe model tells us that from 60 miles away, you shouldn't be able to see 2,400 feet because of the curve. Well, the Willis Tower is only 1,400 feet, and this picture was taken from 60 miles away. So I want to ask you again, why do you think you live on a globe? Because when you look into it, you realize all the reasons you think you do, they're explainable in different reasons that actually make more sense when you measure, repeat, and observe it over and over again. So I ask you, do you live here? And you know what? Obviously, I'm saying all this just for entertainment purposes. If you know that those lights are as tall as these lights, and those are as tall as these, and that those clouds are as high as these clouds, and again, those clouds are as high as these clouds, then why do you struggle so hard when you know that these clouds are not actually touching the water to know that the sun is not actually that low as well? What you're going to see in a second here is that the sun just gets lower and lower and lower because it's getting further and further away, and over distance, atmosphere compounds and it creates a lens. So now, keep this in mind again. You know that those lights there are as high as these lights. Now when we bring in a magnifying glass to simulate what the lensing effect of the atmosphere does, compounded over miles and miles and miles, we see that the boat isn't going behind a curve, aka the sun isn't going behind a curve. It's just going further and further away, and the lensing makes it impossible to see. But then when you remove the lens, or if we could remove the atmosphere, we see the object is still there, not behind a curve. And when you get the right conditions on a very dry and low humidity day, you can zoom right in and you can see that it's not behind the curve whatsoever. So next time you see what
دليلا آخر. أولا، رؤية الأشياء البعيدة، وذلك ابتداء من نقطة معينة إلى الهدف المقصود بالرؤية. فيمكن رؤية أفق مثال فيلادلفيا من نيوجيرسي على مسافة 40 ميل، ويمكن كذلك رؤية أفق مدينة نيويورك من ستيت بارك من على بعد 60 ميل تقريبا، وغير ذلك الكثير مثل المنارات العالية من على أبعاد كبيرة، وهذا لا يتناسب مع انحناء الأرض لا من قريب ولا من بعيد. ثانيا، ثبات نجم الشمال بولاريس رغم ادعائهم مختلف الحركات التي تكون للأرض والسرعات الهائلة لها، فكيف يكون ذلك ثبات؟ ثالثا، النجوم. لماذا نلاحظ نفس النجوم ونفس الأبراج ونفس قبة السماء؟ ولماذا تتراءى لنا تلك النجوم بحركتها الثابتة والدقيقة والتي لا تتغير ولا تتبدل؟ فهل يا ترى هي تجري وتدور مع الأرض كل ذلك الدوران وبكل تلك السرعات؟ كيف ذلك؟ رابعا، يمكن رؤية بعض النجوم من أمكنة مستحيل تراها منها لو كانت على نموذج الكرة، مثل أنه يمكن رؤية دب الأكبر ابتداء من خط عرض 90 درجة شمالا وصولا إلى خط عرض 30 درجة جنوبا، ويمكن رؤية كوكبة ثعلبة والوزة من خط عرض 90 درجة شمالا وصولا إلى خط عرض 55 درجة جنوبا، ونفس الشيء بالنسبة لبرج الثور والحوت والدلو والأسد وغير ذلك.
There's no inside structure.
Is it hollow?
Yeah, there's only a surface. There's nothing inside.
Is the sun actually, do you believe, combusting in and out
It's
itself?
not burning anything. There's no fusion in the sun. That's well understood.
Proven.
Yeah, well, there's just not the way to prove that there is any. It's only in the flares that you get fusion. That's why all the X-rays. The flares, the arcs, and the X-rays, and the microwaves, and whatever result of fusion in the arcs. There's no fusion in the sun. They don't know how the sun works.
Why do you... What's special? How does the sun make light?
It's a transformer. Transforms from some other dimension. It's not burning anything. It doesn't have to. It's a converter.
Of what?
I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what it does. That's the only thing it can do, because that's how everything works.
Transforming from another dimension.
Yeah, you could say it's taking energy from another dimension, counter space. There's no energy, actually. You can't. Most of it you can't even measure in outer space or see.
You can't see.
No, you can't see the sun in free space.
So the sun is not visible in outer space.
Not in free space. It's only invisible when gross matter becomes involved, like the Earth's atmosphere and envelope and the surface of the moon or whatever. That makes the light. Otherwise, there is no light. You can see the moon, you can see the Earth, but you can't see the sun or you can't see the stars.
But you can see the planets and the satellite.
Right. You can see material objects, but you cannot see the sources of light. There is no light until there's a material object.
To reflect off.
So that means there's no time delay. So the whole time delay thing is meaningless. It doesn't take light years. There are no light years because there's no light. So that means that the light you see from the distant stars isn't 4 million years old. It could be only minutes old. It could be instantaneous. All the theories collapse when you can't see the stars in outer space.
The Earth rotates about its axis every 24 hours. During this time, the part of the Earth facing the Sun changes. The part of the Earth facing the Sun experiences daytime. While the part of the Earth facing away from the Sun experiences nighttime. This repeating pattern is called the alternate.
The horizon line. To determine the horizon line, hold your brush at arm's length, close one eye, hold your brush level, don't go higher and don't go lower. Hold it at eye level and look through the brush and you'll see the horizon line, the true horizon line. Sometimes the visible horizon line will hide the true horizon line, but the true horizon line will be right through your brush. So here's the concept from a distance. I'm looking through my brush into the distance, and there's the vanishing point, and these green lines would represent something like trees or people as the distance increases from the viewer to the vanishing point. Now here's what I mean by the visible horizon line. These points right here are the visible horizon line, where the sky meets the ground. But the true horizon line, when I'm standing out in this field looking at eye level, the true horizon line is going to be through these mountains. So if I'm painting a building, I want the perspective to be pointing at the true horizon line, not the visible horizon line. So I hold my brush out at eye level, and right there is the true horizon line. Of course, the true horizon line is much easier to see when you're looking at the ocean because it's completely and totally level. So as you can see here, the true horizon line is the water line. So why is the horizon line important in art? If you want to draw or paint a convincing image, the perspective must be correct. So when you're establishing the perspective, the vanishing point must end on the horizon line. The horizon line never changes. It's always the same. The vanishing point must be on the horizon line. For the perspective to be correct, you must establish a horizon line so you can draw your vanishing points to that line. Let's find the horizon line, and here it is at eye level. And let's draw some squares. This would be maybe some cabinets inside of a room, or some buildings on a street. You're looking down a street. Here's the vanishing points. I should point out that normally all of these vanishing points would be the same. In other words, all these lines would go to that center vanishing point. But I just wanted to illustrate it this way to show you that vanishing points can be in different locations on the horizon line. These are all one-point perspectives. Everything above this line is above the horizon line. Looking at anything below it would be below the horizon line. So now we finish our boxes, and we see that when an object is below the horizon line, we can see the top of it. When an object is above the horizon line, we can see the bottom of it. When it's even with the horizon line, we can't see the bottom or the top. So the point is, the horizon line is important because all of the vanishing points must end at the horizon line. For your perspective to be correct in a painting or drawing, your objects must obey the rules of perspective, which means they diminish in size as they
No force in the universe can make water stick to a spinning ball. Here's why the flat Earth makes more sense than you've ever imagined. Let's start with water. Everywhere on Earth, water behaves the same way. It finds its level. Whether it's in a glass, a lake, or the ocean, water doesn't curve, bend, or bulge. So, if Earth were a spinning globe, why doesn't water cling to its surface like magic? Instead, we see calm, flat horizons. And what about the stars? For thousands of years, the constellations have remained in perfect formation, rotating predictably around the North Star. That kind of precision can only happen in one place, under a dome, just like in a planetarium. Coincidence? I think not. Now let's get into some tech. If outer space is as real as they say, why does Google Earth use drones to capture imagery instead of satellites? And here's a fun fact. All the globe images of Earth are edited. Just compare them. They recycle the same cloud patterns. It's like copying and pasting the sky. Plus, many organizations that promote the globe theory use, you guessed it, flat Earth maps in their logos. Strange, right? And then there's the rockets. Billions of dollars spent, yet not one has ever pierced the so-called firmament above us. They keep showing us launches, but no breakthroughs. Why? Because the firmament, as ancient texts suggest, is real, and they can't break it. Let's talk Mars for a second. NASA says they're flying helicopters on a planet with almost no atmosphere. But here's the thing, helicopters need air to generate lift. So how is that supposed to work? The more you look at these claims, the more they fall apart.
قانون الجاذبية هذا القانون السحري مجازا وربما حرفيا. هذا القانون الخفي لا يمكن إثباته، والأدهى من كده لا يمكن حتى اختباره، ومقياسه الوحيد تصديقك انت له. ما ندري يا نيوتن، هو قانون ولا معتقدات عقائدية؟ قانون البلهاء يقول عنه علماء الفلك هو أعظم اكتشاف للعلم، وهو أساس بنيان علم الفلك الحديث. انت متخيل؟ علم الفلك الحالي مبني على قانون لا يمكن إثباته. كلمة خزعبلي قليلة فيه، لكن بعض علماء الفلك متمسكين فيه. عارف ليش؟ لأنه بدون الجاذبية علم الكون الحالي اللي بنوه راح يخر عليهم من فوقهم، لأنه بدون الجاذبية ما حيكون الإنسان عايش بالشكل هذا على الأرض الكروية، لأنه بدون الجاذبية ما حيكون في نظرية الزمكان ولا نظرية الأوتار ولا النسبية، لأنه بدون الجاذبية ما حيكون في الانفجار الكبير ولا حتكون الشمس مركزية، ولأنه بدون هذا القانون الوهمي أبشرك الأرض ما راح تدور ولا راح تكون كروية، ولأنه بدون الجاذبية راح تعرف يا صاحبي إنك عشت أكبر كذبة اتقالت للبشرية.
Alright, so here's my 110-pound ironworking anvil. I think we got this for making horseshoes and stuff, back when we had horses. So, let's set it in here and see if it floats. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to stay upright. I'll just let it tip over. There it is. It's floating. Look at that. The iron anvil floats because mercury has a density nearly twice that of iron. In fact, due to the density ratios, the iron actually floats better than wood does in water.
Push it under.
Let's push it down. Oh, it's hard to push down. Oh, that's great. Here, let's try it again from the other side. Okay, here we go. Push down. It bobs up like a cork.
We'll be a fucking international headline in about 5 minutes. Australian Navy ship shoots it.
Racing our way. Bad boys, deal.
Is it?
The turret's turning our way.
The turret's turning at us.
Boy, we should hide Adrian in case they think we're
Just go. That's the drone. Is it? That's unreal.
When people say, why the lie, one of the main answers is they're hiding more land.
What if we can truly become free?
مباشرة نتابع معكم هذه الصور. كشفت خرائط تم إنشاؤها بواسطة نظام تحديد المواقع العالمي GPS عن الجرف الجليدي في القارة القطبية الجنوبية.
قالت هيئة المسح البريطانية للقطب الجنوبي إن الكسر حدث بعد ظهور صدع مفاجئ.
you were to try to get in a private plane or on a private boat and try to get too far south to try to find this ice wall, here's what's going to happen. The Navy's going to show up in a battleship or a jet fighter and turn you around and escort you out of the area. Now, let's watch and see what happens when a private boat or a private jet gets too far south. 80 degrees south, that is. Now, these guys are nowhere near the ice wall, but here's what happens when you get too far south.
Hey, it's a Navy destroyer. He will yield. He'll be thinking, that cheeky better not cross my bow. Stop, Josh. They take it seriously. What did they say? You got to yield. You can't just fucking. They think you're going to charge them. We don't know for sure. They come back last fall. Yeah, fucking talk to them. Actually going around. He's turning. Stop. He's turning. He is actually turning. No, he is turning. Fucking hell, what have we done now? It's turning, Josh, just sit still. He's slowed down. Yeah, he's really slowed down. Don't know we're in trouble. It's coming to us. He's got the shits because... This is Hobart 16. Yeah, we got you, mate. Just bad boys. Did he come back? Gotta get channel 16. We're heading to the shelf to go. So we're heading out fishing. Heading out fishing. Oh, we're just heading out fishing. He's out, boys. Just go. You've seen out the chopper. That's a drone. Is it? That's unreal.
We set up a demo today with this Cessna and the Air National Guard. I'm going to be inside of this Cessna and we're going to be going rogue. We're going to fly into that no-fly zone and we're going to see how the Air National Guard does it. They scramble the fighter jets to come right.
We're on.
Flying for miles and miles until...
Okay, we've just entered the no-fly zone now.
Our pilots aren't talking to air traffic control, ignoring their calls to reach them. That triggers an alarm at the Air National Guard base. These fighter pilots scrambling to their jets. They're on alert and ready to take action 24 hours a day. Today, racing to their F-16s, suiting up, climbing on board, and rushing to the runway. Taking off to intercept our rogue Cessna, reaching the target in just minutes. This is the view from the F-16. That's my Cessna right there.
Intimidating as you would think it would be. Look at that fighter jet. He's right off our wing.
Another F-16 swooping in on the right, calling us on aviation frequencies.
He wants us to identify ourselves. We're a rogue aircraft, remember, for this demonstration, so we're not going to respond at all and see what this fighter jet.
Order to turn to the northwest.
The fighter jet giving us one last warning. After all of this, the pilot still won't listen. The plane won't leave the airspace. Will you shoot them down?
If required, we'll execute the rules of engagement per the commander of the North American Aerospace Defense Command. And yes, we would do that.
Shoot the plane down.
If it meets the rules of engagement, yes, we would, to defend the airspace.
Entering restricted airspace. You are warned to turn west immediately. If you do not follow these instructions, you may be fired upon.
Now
just in case you're not awake yet, the reason these government agencies had the flat earth in their logo is
that map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be, and it shows it, there we go, right hand side, there's Antarctica at the tip of South America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land. And it's larger than it is today, but it was larger than it is today during the Ice Age. Antarctica was a much bigger. Now, what the f is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s?